All right, tonight for the Chalk Talk, imagine, if you will, that you're a Republican congressional leader and you can't get the government up and running. You can't get anybody to talk with you and negotiate with you. And your job approval rating as a member of Congress has fallen to 11%. 1 point above the worst rating for Congress in history. Folks, it is day 8 of the shutdown, and unfortunately, the Republican Party is proposing a new supercommittee to address all that is befallen them. Let's take a look at the history of these supercommittees, these things. September of 2011, when the first supercommittee kicked off its first meeting, their official name, the Joint Select Committee on Deficit Reduction. You love that? You're practically guaranteed a win with a big fancy name like that. They had 2 months to come up with an agreement on a plan to achieve $1.5 trillion in deficit reduction. And yes, even though they called it a super committee, it failed. The Congress has a short memory, if one at all, and they certainly love to talk bipartisan, and particularly as they're trying to wind their way out of messes that they create. And they love bipartisan powwows. So in January of this year, the Senate formed a gang of 8. Isn't that impressive? A gang of 8. Capitol Hill's newest power clique. They managed to have their immigration reform package pass the Senate in June, but it was dead on arrival in the House, despite being a super committee, a gang of 8, a bipartisan device. It wasn't just a legislative failure, it was a political failure for Gang of 8 member Marco Rubio, whose conservative credentials took a devastating hit. And we're not done with congressional gang failures. Things were going so swimmingly in the Senate. In January of this year, the House created its own immigration gang of 8. In June of this year, it became, however, the gang of 7. These things happen to super committees and gangs. By September, it had become the gang of 5, and now it is the gang of 0. It's gone nowhere. It will go nowhere. And notice the trend here. But wait, our lawmakers say this time will be different. Well, maybe all we have to do is name this let's go with a couple of names here and see if they make some sense. The magnificent, outstanding, marvelous, Candy Rock Mountain, sensational, outstanding, super-duper, supercalifragilistic committee. Doesn't that sound something like they ought to put together there? It's bound to succeed with a name like that, or maybe it'll just lead back to this, which is what it's done in every other instance, a big 0. Stay with us. We're coming right back.